99.9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, so I am back with you. We, as in myself and WEFM, we are back with you for another segment of our Activated Mornings program for today. And we are in the Talk to Me session. Boy, I couldn't even get that out fast enough. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning to you, my lovely lady. How art thou?
I was wondering what was up with you. Thee is fine, but how is thou though? Thee is fine.
But you see that? Let me tell you can call me anytime, you know. I know you have access to my numbers, so you can call me anytime too. You don't have to wait until I come on radio to ask me. Or
yeah, but Dave, the thing of it is not me alone is be asking for you. So when we hear you on radio, you know, that's how everybody else knows that you're okay.
All right. Let's talk. Yeah. So Christmas coming.
Geese is getting fat.
I want my God, how shall I put it? Godfathers and godmothers to remember that I am still around. I'm still alive. Even though I'm not who I used to be, you know. Otherwise, I guess I would have been out partying already and all that stuff. Well, I don't even know if Christmas is like, no, can be. Christmas can be like what it used to be in my time. I really used to enjoy Christmas. So many nights, you know. Well, maybe now I am where I am, you know, nobody remembers, right? But I remember in times gone, so many different, you know, so many different functions. You used to be invited and all of that stuff and so on to certain Christmas functions. But I guess I have to understand that after one time is another.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you're young and strong, you know, you can do what you want to do and then people tend to remember you because they see you, right? Mm-hmm. So there's so much to talk about. I've been listening, you know. Oh, and then, by the way, I have a problem with my phone, so. But listening to all the different comments, lamentations, and so on, I hope and pray, if I live to see Christmas, I have an enjoyable one. Well, in my time now, I could say how I'd like to spend my Christmas and all of that. But come next year, 2025, that's going to be a milestone year in the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Many things are going to 2025. There's so much. We have general elections to look forward to, and boy, I can't take some of the vibes I'm hearing for elections right now in my ears. So I hope I live to see that too, and we get over it without any, because on the radio it doesn't sound as though, you know, man ready like Freddy, and excitement can bring on a lot of things. So Father Jesus, just see me through, let me vote, and what is to happen, I hope it will be for the better of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I also would like to see for 2025 that we have more critical thinkers in this country. I repeat, for 2025, I am hoping that we have more critical thinkers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because I get the impression and I am appalled by some of the things I'm hearing. And is this how we see ourselves as a progressive nation? Yes, I know we have one or two bright people, and, you know, happy for them who are bright, but you must be able to apply your brightness, right?
All right.
You must be able to apply that brightness and make me feel a safer citizen in this country, not criminal activities and let us all work towards that positive outcome. That's how I see it. But plenty more different talk, but no time.
Time not it.
Love you, darling. Take
All
care.
right, take care, Dave. All right. So, yes, folks, Dave is very much alive and well. For those of you who asked about him earlier this week, all right? So, good morning to Joshua. Good morning to Evans, Kojo, Jeff, and Patricia, and to George, who was on the live earlier this morning. All right. So, yes, we are in our Talk to Us segment. This is where you get interactive with us, me, today, and you can pose a question to get feedback, or if you wish to bring up anything in relation to what we spoke about earlier, anything that we spoke about earlier that you wish to share your opinion on. All right, so as usual, I am going to give 10 seconds. The number to call is 457-9997. And of course, if there are no calls, we are going to go into our topic for today. All right, so in my head, 10 seconds gone. I didn't count, but I feel it's 10 seconds already went, right? So we are going to talk a little bit on the topic of what compels some people to be rude, right? And we know that they are among us. What is it that drives some persons to be rude for no good reason? Or at least in our opinions, they're rude for no good reason. All right, so whether it is reading something, whether it is, all right, let me take this call quickly. Hi, Josh, morning.
You have to give me, Roleza, you have to give me a little more than 10 seconds, because this call has to go through the Bermuda Triangle.
All right, go ahead.
My favorite character, I used to love looking at cartoons with the kids when the kids were younger. And guess who my favorite character was and still is?
Cartoon character?
Quick.
Bugs Bunny?
Nah, Pepe Le Pew.
Who's that one?
It's Skunk.
Let me go. Oh, okay. All right, Why? Josh?
Well, let me explain. He was a lover boy, right? I mean, he was a lover boy. He had all the good things to say. And he was also very graceful. But do you know what is bad about a skunk?
It smells.
It smells. If somebody tell you smell like a skunk, that's the worst insult you could get. But I love the guy because of most of the talks that I have, when it came to when I used to be an idiot out there flirting, was from listening to Pepe Le Pew. And he moves so gracefully. But I wouldn't want to sit and eat with Pepe Le Pew. I kind of smiled this morning because of my post. Some folks were wondering, what, I can't believe you said that about Ralph Gonsalves. Look, man, to me, I'm not saying he's a skunk. Please, do not sue WEFM. And don't sue me. I'm not saying the Prime Minister is a skunk, okay? I'm saying I love some things about him, just like I love those graceful things about Pepe Le Pew. So set your mind at these folks. I could live with anybody. I could even being around Dave. I don't have to go home and eat and sleep with him. I could tolerate anybody at all. It's all good, man. So next time if you ever get the opportunity, Roleza, look at Pepe Le Pew. He's the best thing in cartoons.
Okay. All right.
Have a great day.
You too, Josh. All right. Thanks. All right. So for those folks on the loud bus, speaking specifically to Dianna Cain, who not here next to me this morning. Good morning to those of you who are on the bus and making your way to, I'm not sure what schools you're going today, but hope that you guys will be safe on the roads and have an enjoyable day with the children. All right. So for those wondering why Dianna not here, no, she didn't born walk, right? She is on exercise in terms of reaching out to young people. All right. And she will tell us a little bit more about what happened tomorrow, because she'll be with us tomorrow. All right. So we're back onto the topic of what compels some people to be rude. So whether it's just having a rude tone of voice or being condescending, why are some people rude? I don't understand why people can't have a little consideration for other person's feelings or the way they are perceived by others. If I'm a very sensitive person, maybe that person, you might be overly sensitive, but they don't understand the idea of people being rude for no good reason. And I also don't understand why people are rude for no good reason, but there are some reasons. All right. So let's go into some of those reasons. And the page just went. So I'm going to find it back. All right. So some people are rude and okay, so before I even read it, one of the things that I tend to find with persons being rude is many times it stems from them being embarrassed, right? You may say something to them that they're not aware of, that they don't know, or they may think that you are correcting them, and not everybody likes to feel as though they're being corrected. So one of the things that I've come across with persons who turn out to be rude to me for no good reason, I find for me in most situations it's because of embarrassment. Now the thing of it is that we have to remember that we are not going to know everything, right? And yes, sometimes it probably does depend on the way in which somebody speaks to us in terms of trying to correct us. That might result in the way in which we would respond to them. But for what it is that I've encountered most times when persons are just deliberately rude is because they're embarrassed, either because they don't know something or they think that persons are trying to pull them up when it might just be a simple case of trying to explain something to them, right? So there are some other reasons why persons can be rude or are rude. It can stem from insecurity or low self-esteem. And for them, belittling other persons makes them feel better, all right? Now, there's also issues or situations where there's lack of empathy, where they just don't understand that what they say or what they do, how it's going to impact on other persons in terms of how other persons are going to feel, right? Another reason why persons might be rude for no good reason is anger or frustration, right? Displacing emotions onto others. And recently, I actually went through a situation like this where somebody called me and they were frustrated, and I understood the reason for their frustration, right? So they shouting at me, I'm shouting back at them, and it's so the conversation went until I got to a point when I realized the shouting match just wasn't making sense, right? But I would go into how it is I handled that situation a little bit more. But yes, anger and frustration can result in persons being rude to you for no good reason, right? Some persons do the trolling thing, right? They just are trying to provoke a response from you, right? Some persons may say something towards you just because they know, especially if they know you're thin-skinned, they are going to say something to evoke a reaction from you for their own personal pleasure, all right? Sometimes it's social norms because they're following the harmful behavior of others within a group. And you see this a lot with children, right? A group of children may come together, or a group of pairs, I mean, not just the children, right? Pairs may come together and they think that it's okay to respond to you in a particular way, to use a particular tone of voice, because this is how friends within their group, or this is how the group tends to respond to other persons. So sometimes it has to do with the social norms in terms of maybe this is how their parents respond to persons in a very rude and aggressive manner. And the children seeing this think that this is acceptable and it is the norm. All right. Another one could also be mental health issues, right? Unaddressed psychological problems. And because they do not seek attention for their issues, medical attention or medical intervention for their issues, they allow it to fester and it becomes a problem to everybody else. So rather than trying to get that problem solved, because they don't know how to deal with it, they end up being rude towards you, right? Another one is upbringing and environment. We touched on that already. And sometimes it's just lack of accountability. You know, some persons say, well, this is how I am. Since when is this is how I am a justification for you being the way that you are, or for us having to accept this from you? All right. There are times when persons need to take some accountability for their actions. And if they recognize that, let's say persons don't want to interact with them because this is the personality that they have, you don't just say that this is how I am and think that it's going to be okay, right? Personal accountability is important in terms of looking within yourself and seeing the things that you can change to be a better person. All right. So those are some of the reasons why persons can be rude towards us for no good reason. Right. So some of the ways that we can deal with rude people is just sometimes to remember that it has nothing to do with you. And the situation that I was talking about where recently the person I got into a shouting match is I understood why it is that they were upset, right? I understood the reason behind why they were upset. But then in realizing that they're shouting at me shouting back at them, it was not helping the situation. And I had to stop and say, Roleza, just put yourself in the person's situation and understand for a minute why it is that they were upset, right? And that is what I did. And then I allowed the person to vent and they just continued to state their position. And when they stopped, and I was already calm at that point because I realized it wasn't so much me that they were upset with, but the situation that they were in. So when it is that they calmed down, then it's when it was that I gave them the best possible advice that I could have given them at the time. So sometimes when persons are rude towards us, just step back and say, I'm not going to take this personally. This is because this person has this particular issue and it has nothing directly to do with me. So when you think like that, you're able to step back and realize that it can be handled in a different way, and you don't have to do the shouting match, and you don't have to both be rude towards each other. All right. Sometimes we can also try to find out why. If the person is willing to open up, try to find out why it is they're rude. Right. There are times when I think maybe just having the conversation with persons rather than us going to them in an also aggressive manner, trying to find out what is the genesis of what it is that may be bothering them, right? You may have a coworker who is rude, right? Find out the reason why, rather than, just saying that you're always pushing up your mouth, and you always this and you always that. Maybe try to have a conversation and understand why it is that they're acting the way that they are acting, all right? Another thing to do is don't join in with it, right? Don't join the drama club. Especially on social media, there are some persons who do these things for attention, right? They might tag somebody in their post to try to belittle them and try to bring them down. You can probably just be an online spectator looking at it, but you do not necessarily have to join in. Not your, how the expression go? Not my circus, not my monkeys. I think that's how it goes, right? So you don't have to join in. If it has nothing to do with you directly, just leave it alone and let the person sort the problems out for themselves, right? Another one is to just drop it and walk away. Sometimes rather than causing a situation to escalate further, just say, not today, right? And mumble under your breath, not today, Satan, but don't call the person Satan, right? But you could just mumble under your breath or in your head and say, not today, Satan, and you walk away. All right. So sometimes it really is that simple. You don't have to take it on, right? Sometimes in some cases where somebody calls your phone and they are venting and they're shouting at you, or maybe cursing dirty words towards you, not even a good morning, good afternoon, they started the conversation with. If it just means for your peace of mind that you just need to hang up that call, you hang up the call. All right. You hang up that call and you wait for them to calm down and maybe reach out to them, or they would reach out to you when they have calmed down. But sometimes just walking away is the best, right? Sometimes you can also consider offering them help, asking them, do you need assistance? How can I assist you? Do you just need for me to be here to talk to you and to help to support you? All right. Do you need actual professional help? You can reach out and offer them suggestions in that way. All right. And understand that rudeness is a habit for some persons, and just don't engage. All right. And sometimes we do need to fight rudeness with kindness. If it just means smiling and walk away, smile and walk away. Or if it means a situation where they are raising their voice towards you, you don't necessarily need to raise your voice towards them, all right? You can take the approach of using a calmer voice to help to de-escalate this situation, all right? So we know that we meet these persons among us all the time, rude towards you for no justifiable reason, right? But one of the things, as was pointed out here, don't take it personally, don't internalize it, don't think that it's about you. It's on them and it's for them to change, all right? So that was our Talk to Us session today. And we were talking about on the topic of what compels people to be rude. All right. So we are going to step out of this segment at this time as we have Community Dateline to bring to you.
Nothing else sounds as good as